Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Max and today I'm bringing you another ADA video and I want to talk to you about what's recently been happening with the price, why I'm so bullish at this current standpoint with ADA, what can we expect to happen in the future, whether that's in the short term or long run with ADA's price, and what has been happening lately. So guys, if you want to join the army, please make sure to like, subscribe and comment your thought below because it greatly helps the channel. Now let's not waste any more time and go straight into this. What's been happening lately, and it's been a little bit of a ride, and it's been a little bit of a ride, but in a positive way, guys. Now watching the volume levels already, we can see that the volume levels are increasing, and that's one of the first bullish sign, because we saw back in January and February these volume levels, which were obviously very big. They were huge, and that was due to these very big bullish run that were followed by some consolidation, and again another bullish run, consolidation, and another bullish run. And so the volumes were really high, and then sort of during this week we were stuck in these very low volumes, and this was a bit worrying, and because people were a bit not doing much, and maybe perhaps selling off or being scared about what is happening next. But we're in ADA for the long term because of the full release of Goggin, the confirmation of Africa deal, the grayscale investing into ADA, and even the potential listing on PayPal. So we're in ADA for the long run, the value that we believe into it, and this is why we should look into ADA, not really at the daily chart, but I still want to talk to you about the daily chart for us to understand why ADA could potentially reach $10 in the future. Now, when we look at the price today, we see that the volumes are increasing, and this is, like I said, a very good news. But also, what we also see happening is that we are making higher lows consistently here, and we're also making higher highs. Higher lows here. Here the lows are getting smaller compared to here. As we can see, the lows were bigger, so we're making higher lows, but we're also making higher highs, and this is the second bullish sign for what's happening with ADA. Now, the third thing which is important to take into account is that for Cardano is being in the center of our wedge here. We can see that Cardano for a very long time, actually, from beginning of March to April, and finally now we're breaking out of that wedge, and I'll talk about it. But we've been stuck in this wedge, and this is a very good wedge, guys. Don't be worried because we were stuck into this, but as you can see, we were going like this, up and down and up and down, and so we were stuck in this wedge. And this is not too worried, but because we always stayed between the support, we stayed between the support line here and the resistance, and so it wasn't too worrying because, as we can see, we perfectly stayed within those lines, as we can see as we zoom, and so that was another bullish sign. And what's happening lately is that we finally have broken out of that resistance, and we're finally broken out to a new bullish run, and this is why I'm expecting ADA to break towards a new all-time high here and continue increasing to a new all-time high, because we finally broken out. So this is a very good sign, and when we check on a daily, we can see that we just got out. So it's still not too late if you haven't gotten into Cardano, and you should definitely look into getting into it or adding into it to your portfolio if you haven't just yet. And so this is very good news for Cardano, because we've broken out of this wedge, and we've broken out of this triangle, similarly to what happened back, if we go have a look to what happened in December and back in early 2021. We were stuck actually between November to early January. We were stuck in the similar pattern where actually we had highs, correction, some correction that was followed by some resistance, and finally by the end of beginning of January, towards mid-January, we broke out, and finally this led to a new all-time high. And this pattern is very similar and repetitive because we have this similar pattern here, which is why I'm so bullish in the short to medium term with ADA's current standpoint and price. Now, why am I so bullish in the long term? We'll talk about it, but I also wanted to talk about the RSI. As we can see here, the RSI is not above 70%, so we're not in the overbought zone, which is also quite good for you if you want to get in still into ADA, and it's still a good sign for you to get into it. Now, let's talk about the news related to Cardano and why I'm so bullish into believing that it can pass $10. Now, Ethereum uses proof of work, and you've probably heard that Cardano uses proof of stake. But for people who haven't heard of it, proof of work is basically the requirement to define on an expensive computer calculation, also called mining. And what happened is that their reward is given to the first miner who solves each block problem. And so the network miners compete to be the first to find a solution for the mathematical problem. Whereas proof of stake is that the creator of a new block is chosen in a deterministic way depending on its wealth, also defined as stake. And so the POS system there is also a block reward. So the miner takes the transaction fees. And proof of stake currencies can be several thousand times more cost effective. In other words, guys, proof of stake is a much more efficient, reliable, time-saving, and cost-saving way of operating over proof of work. And this is why there's worried that, and this is pretty even bullish sign for ADA, that ADA could potentially take over Ethereum because it's much more efficient if we were to use it in terms of mass adoption, which is what we're thinking. If we want to be very bullish into ADA, we're thinking about mass adoption into actually usability of the coin. And this leads me to another news, which was talking about how Revolut adds 11 cryptocurrencies to its trading offering. And this is very bullish sign again, because Revolut actually dominates the digital banking in Europe. And this is huge, guys, because they just added 11 cryptocurrencies, including Cardano, as part of their new crypto funds that you are able to hold in your accounts. And just to tell you how big Revolut is, it has over 15 million customers worldwide. So this is just the exposure effect, and what we call also about the network effect of people being, the more people that will know about ADA, the more it can drive the price up because of the network effect like we talked about. And this is just one other great example. Now 15 million people will be exposed to potentially buying ADA, and and the more easy it gets for users to get into cryptocurrencies, because before you needed hard wallet, it was complicated. Now you have these easy exchange such as Coinbase, but even Revolut, but you also have Kraken and all these exchange which are very easy for people to buy and user friendly, which makes it much more scalable, and which is why Cardano could drastically increase throughout the year in the long term. Now, ADA, also another news which is amazing, is that they one reason to take it very seriously is that the technology. Now the POS, known as the proof of stake, we talked about it, is much more efficient than proof of work. And much of this comes from Cardano's all-star development team, and the co-founder being Charles Hoskinson. Like Charles Hoskinson said, he doesn't really care whether the coin price is 10 cents, $1, $10, $20. What matters to him is the usability of the coin and the growth of the coin, whether it can actually solve an issue and just not be a store of value. And if you are looking at this video thinking of getting into ADA as an investment, that's totally fine. I'm just showing you a reason as to why Cardano has such bullish signs for the long term, and why you should get into it before it's too late. And so another sign is that Cardano's boss explains why Africa will leapfrog the rest of the world in blockchain adoption. Now, this is another huge project. While Cardano is focusing on Africa, Hawkinson said that the region represents a promising prospect, especially now in 2021, which wasn't the case 10 years ago and before. He explained that Africa is rising in terms of technological development, first in the expansion of internet infrastructure in the region, and more importantly, the rate at which internet adoption is occurring. This is why this could be potentially very big. Imagine Cardano being the medium of payment for all African countries that suffer from strong inflation with their current medium of exchange due to a lot of reasons, such with major ones being corruption, but also badly run governments. So if imagine just the demand that would bring to Cardano and how much that would make the coin grow. So that's an insane project that it's very promising for the coin. And lastly, Grayscale offers new trust to invest in five more cryptos, including Filecoin and Chilling, which is not the one we're very interested in today. But they did talk about being interested into possibly invest into Cardano, as we can see here. So this would be also very big because they are huge, Grayscale, and they have big impact into people's way of operating. So this would be one other major good news for Cardano. So guys, here are my reasons why I believe Cardano could reach $10 in the future, why I'm very bullish in the short term even for Cardano as we break outside of this wedge, and why we could see new all-time high coming very time soon. And so guys, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe because it greatly helps me. Please make sure to put in the bell and the notification bell so you don't miss out any of the new videos. And I'll make sure to catch you in the next video. Bye.